let's revisit one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, and in my opinion, might be one of the greatest, Full House. I remember vividly growing up as a kid, coming home every day, turning on my recorded episodes of Full House. What I would do is I would wake up every morning, turn it on and watch it before school, record it while I was at school, come home and finish it when I got home. There was something about the show, the intro, the characters, the theme, the familiarity and the comfortability of it. You had Danny Tanner, who had lost his wife and brings two of his close friends in to help raise his daughters in this kind of dysfunctional family. But they go through life together and they always seem to find a solution and a perspective that is better than when the episode first starts. Every episode was like a real world problem. It was about the kids growing up, the guys going through their emotional stuff that they've been struggling with. And there will always be like a parallel. There'll be like a main issue and then an issue that wasn't so serious, but through each one, they both were able to solve and help each other see the wrongs that they were putting in their own situations respectively. It's very interesting. This show gave me a good feeling. It gave me a feeling of always having something to come back to. You know, growing up in a family environment that wasn't the most stable myself, it was nice being able to turn on the TV and just watch something that was peaceful. Full House had the same rooms, the same characters, the same things going on over and over and over again. And in a space where I was moving around, you know, I was going through my own emotional stuff but didn't know how to express myself. It was a good show that made me feel like I had something to always come back to. And then just the atmosphere of it all. Like I said, it's close-knit. It's very, like, they have each other's back. The family was their best friends. They had no issues being themselves. Each character had their own personality and their own ups and downs. But then they would always bring it back to family. They made their house full. And it's just so amazing to watch as an adult now, because it just reminds me of those good feelings that I had when I was a kid. Being able to just come home and let my hair down. So what made this show so special? To me, it was the always seeing the emotional intelligence of the characters. People go through similar things like they do in Full House. They go through a lot of grief, love, sacrifice, school issues, getting bullied, high school crushes, etc. But then they always start off not being able to express their emotion and then finding a way through the end of the episode to express it in a very healthy way. When I watch the show now, I can definitely see some very effective communication throughout all the characters. One, for example, was Jesse's, I believe, Papui had came to visit and he had died unexpectedly in his sleep. And then everybody was grieving. Jesse had his own way of, you know, just staying busy. And then Michelle started skipping school. And then Michelle was just asking, like, how do I make it stop? Like, how do I heal this pain of just this person that I love and care for just being gone? And they didn't lie to her. They said that it's gonna hurt and you kind of have to get through it. But the beautiful thing is that we're all going through it together. We're all gonna stick together and we're gonna help each other through this emotion that's uncomfortable. And then Jesse, at the beginning of the episode, claims he doesn't dance and ends up going to Michelle's show and tell to doing the dance with her. he sacrificed something in himself to make sure that she was taken care of, and him taking care of her also helped him get through his grief as well. And every episode is kind of similar to like that, where there's this big thing that happens, and then there's this problem that these people are going through, and they come together and solve it. And I think that's how many of us should be in our own lives. We need to do that with our own families and friends, and if we don't have the people to do it with, we can create that for ourselves and even do it for ourselves, you know? Man, and then just watching it, just like, why did this show connect with so many people? Why is this show so timeless? Like, why can you turn this show on that was shown back in the 90s and it still be a hit to this day? You know, it's the jokes, it's the togetherness, it's the forgiveness and the love, ultimately. You see a family that just loves each other through so much stuff that no problem can come between them. No issue is too big for them to overcome. They love each other so much to where when somebody messes up, they call it out, and then that person takes accountability. You know, we're almost taught nowadays to not do that. That's like against the norm now, taking accountability. It's always the blame game. It's always eye for an eye. But that family does a good job of slowing down and saying, hey, you know what? It is my fault, and I'm also going to help you through your issues as well. So what hits differently for me as an adult now, for me watching the show? I think personally, growing up, I can understand a lot of the scenes more. It hits me a little deeper. I literally just got done watching an episode where Joey is opening up for this big guy in Vegas doing comedy, and then his dad comes to see him. His dad is this big military guy, and they didn't grow up well together. You know, his parents split. His dad wasn't really in his life like that. And then his dad is very harsh, and he just undermined Joey. He was like, Joey, respectfully, comedy ain't a real job. And then Joey had to tell him, like, man, like, this is what I love to do. Like, I make people laugh. This gives my soul fulfillment. And then his dad ends up, they don't see eye to eye. He ends up leaving. And then he comes back and watches the show, and then they come together and show appreciation for each other. They apologize to each other, and then they restart. You know, I can relate to that a lot because, you know, I didn't grow up with my father figure. So I can only imagine what it would be like having that experience now. You know, it gives me a sense of peace. It gives me a sense of nostalgia. Back then, I was looking for a place to come home that was reoccurring. Now, when I watch the show, I'm looking at ways on how to communicate effectively in my own life. How can I still see someone else's perspective even though I feel like they're wrong? How can I slow down and maybe take accountability for my actions? Because the thing about this life and this show is that perspectives clash. One person always thinks they're right, the other one person thinks they're right. And then it isn't until they see each other from the opposite side that they come to an agreement. And the whole episode is them denying it. And then something happens in their lives that makes them see the other side. Whether it's through something traumatic or something more simple. You know, maybe it's seeing their little sister grow up. Maybe it's seeing Michelle become potty trained. Maybe it's a breakup between Jesse and Becky. Maybe it's a fight between DJ and Kimmy. But no matter what it always was, they always end up coming together. And now I'm taking lessons from the show on how I can use that to improve my relationships. And that's what I think about it. This show that makes it so beautiful and timeless is that I'm still learning to this day from my adult mind rather than my childhood mind. A personal story that I can always remember with Full House, again, was just waking up every single morning. I had to watch it. I had to sing along to the theme song. you know, and it was just amazing. It was just a good time, you know. It was a time where I can just relax and the world would be still. I could escape all my issues and troubles through this show. And then me personally, I loved Jesse and Becky in their relationship. I loved when they had the twins. You know, I'm a big dog guy. Comet was fire. And then I always loved the crossover shows. So seeing Steve Urkel come into Full House was hard. And I just think that stuff like that, bro, is just what makes the show so amazing to this day. And it's really simple, and I don't think there's any spectacular writing or anything. I think sometimes it could even be corny, but the corniness makes it funny. The corniness is what makes it good to me. I feel like we live in a very overly optimized time right now, and I think the beautiful thing about older art is that it wasn't about perfection. It was just an expression. You know, it was open to critiques. Now everything is about being 100% perfect, 100% perfect, 100% perfect. But they have a lot of rawness, it feels like, in those takes, where they're very long takes. The shots aren't, you know, moving too much. They do a lot of static shots when you watch it. And again, it was just a very, very fun time for me to just finally be at peace in a time of turmoil. So if you're anything like me, and you love this show, what does this reveal about us? I think watching Full House now reveals that we love comfort. We love emotional intelligence. And the most importantly, we love giving love to others and receiving it as well. I watch these episodes and I still get emotional because it's that sense of knowing that you have people who are there supporting you throughout the smallest things in life. Their problems to them are so big, but in the grand scheme of the world are so minuscule, but they're always there for each other. They're always growing together. And what else I think this reveals is that we just love to be house builders. We want to build our own house. And if you're like me, who didn't come from a Full House like them, where the emotional intelligence was that great, I want to produce that in the future, which makes the show amazing to me. It gives me something to look forward to. And the one thing that I also like about the show is it's not a perfect family. You know, it's not a 2-parent household and the white picket fence. It's like, no, these guys are all dysfunctional. Like, Danny is widowed from his wife passing away, and he has to navigate these issues and trying to raise these 3 little girls with his 2 brethren. And they bring other people in the house, and it's this unique family unit, but they love it because it's theirs. It's unique to them. It's something that only they can experience. One episode that comes back to my mind, even thinking about saying that, is Stephanie had a mother-daughter sleepover she was supposed to go to, and obviously she didn't want to go because her mom has passed away. But Joey decides to go. At first it was going to be Rebecca, Jesse's girl, but she got caught in traffic, so she couldn't go. So Joey had to come take that place. And obviously for Stephanie, it was very awkward having Joey as the only male in the room and everyone else is there with their mom. So obviously she goes and she's, you know, having a hard time. She's crying. And then DJ had to talk with her older sister. And it's like, yeah, we may not have a mom, but we got 3 parents. We got Danny, Jesse, and Joey. That's special to them. It's unique, it's different. And although it's not the traditional, it's something that is so beautiful. It's like a beautiful imperfection that they then come to appreciate what they have, even though it's not the traditional and way that things should go. So stuff like that is why I love the show. It shows us that not everything is going to be perfect, but we can still make meaningful connections throughout our lives. And then not only that, we can build that full house in the future. When life throws things at us that are unexpected, we can still navigate them and stick together with the people that we love. We can grow, teach, grieve, all with people that we know and love and care about. And it's not going to be linear, and we're going to have fights, and we're going to have our growing pains, we're going to have our ups and our downs, but we will ultimately continue to move forward. And this show, you can always come back to as an emotional anchor. There's a home, a hand to hold on to, a face of somebody who needs you, and then there's always a light that's waiting to carry you home, just like the theme song says. So, if you enjoy a full house like me, go build yours. Whether that's your immediate family, whether that's your friends, your chosen family, or whether that's the family that you plan on creating in the future. There's a lot of beautiful moments and memories to experience in this life. And Full House is a perfect example of that. So let's use these lessons from this show. Let's communicate effectively. Let's look at each other's perspectives. Let's understand each other. And let's, most importantly, be there forever to those we know and love. So let me know what you think. What are some of your favorite memories? Who's your favorite character? Does this show still hold up for you? And then what should we revisit next? I just want to know your opinion. And again, go build that full house.